whom he had formed. So in the garden, God had formed us, right? Okay, now here we go. Before there was sin, before there was a struggle, before we had identity confusion, there was a garden. Okay? Follow me now. Now, the Garden of Eden is not, chill out, Brian. It's just not the place of beauty. It's a place of presence. It's a place of presence. Whose presence? Whose presence? Whose presence? So God's presence is right here, right? Okay. So man's identity was not shaped, or a woman's identity or our identity wasn't being shaped by our culture, by our pain, or performance, by God himself. And sometimes our identity is shaped through our pain. The word teaches us. That's why we get nicknames based on our character from the environment that we lived in. My nickname before I came to Christ was Gaddafi. Gaddafi was the ruler of Libya, and everybody knew his character. But because I thought I was immoral, all that. So they gave me a nickname to fit the character or the role I was playing. And it didn't get me nowhere in life, right? All right, now what was your nickname? They didn't call her Hot Mama because she wasn't trying to walk around like Hot Mama. Think about it. So think how you got your nickname. Based on what you was doing. Based on how you was living. Based on the character you had. But God's saying that's not who you are. That's who you was. But because we didn't know our true identity, the world gave us an identity. But our identity was being shaped in the Garden of Eden when God breathed the breath of life in us. Can I get amen? Amen. So our identity is being shaped in the presence of God. Hello. That's why we struggle in our Christian walk, because the old person wants to live. Huh? They didn't call you schemer because you wasn't a schemer. But if we're going to understand who we are, we got to first go back to where we was being first formed. And it was in the garden, in the presence of God. So today, we're in the presence of God. And God is trying to form us on who he called us to be. Can I get amen? Our old identity led us to places where we been. And some of us to where we at now. But God's saying, that's not the real you. The real you was formed in the garden. The real you was formed in my presence. The real you has been formed as I breathe the breath of life into you. Can I get amen? See, the first thing we have to understand that we was formed in his presence. This is 2:7. Are y'all getting the picture? And the Lord God formed man from the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostril the breath of life. And man became a living. That's why sometimes when God begins to take your life and then he begins to show you who you really are, sometimes we surprised. I'm the first person that really be surprised on a lot of stuff I see God do. And I said, me? But I'm learning who God is calling me to be. I've been saved 30 years. So if I'm still learning, who are you to think you already got it? Huh? See, the Lord God formed man from the dust of the ground. That's for all the young kids who think they just visiting because they've been here before. And the Lord God formed man in the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostril the breath of life. Adam wasn't just created. He was formed. It's a difference being formed and just put together. We so used to stuff being put together with no thought. That's why sometimes when you give people birthday gifts, I be hesitant just to give them money. Because a person told me, Pastor, I appreciate the money you gave me, but it didn't cause you to have no thought to give me no money. I said, wow, man, are you serious? So think about it. When you give a person a birthday gift and you give them money, there's no thought in it. There's a scheme in it. You don't want to give them too much, but you just give them money. But if you go out and take time and you go to the store and you ask this lady, this is what I do sometimes. I said, how does it smell? Yeah, I tell her, go find me the best smelling thing on the market to you. So I get advice from her. I go to another spot, ask for advice, and then I go and take time to smell all of them. Then I say, how would this smell on my wife? Would I want to smell this every day? Would I want to smell this sometime? So in other words, it takes time, it takes thoughts, and sometimes when I go down, right, I sit with these, and when I get to her, she didn't like it. And man, I was crushed, right? But then I had to find her. It's not how much money you spend on the gift to make her happy. It's what she really liked. Whether it costs $3 or $3,000, it don't matter. It's just what she liked. So it takes time. Some people gonna take it because it's expensive, whether they like it or not. But she not like that. You can go to Walmart, and if she like it, she like it. I probably be a little biased, but it took time for me to learn that. So God took time to form us. He didn't throw us together. He said, for me to form Kirk, I'm gonna have to form Kirk, then I'm gonna have to stay on Kirk, then I'm gonna have to tell Kirk I'm in charge, then I'm gonna have to remind Kirk I'm in charge, then I'm gonna have to remind Kirk that he don't run nothing, then I'm gonna have to show Kirk he don't run nothing, but I'm gonna form Kirk and I'm gonna wire Kirk to respond to me, right? So God's saying, I know what I did and took time to form him, so I know what's it gonna take for Kurt to succeed. Well, he didn't just do that for Kurt, he done that for all of us. He took time to find, and he said, to cap it off, I know they're gonna be good. I'm gonna put a part of me in them. I'm gonna breathe myself in them. So everybody that you're looking at got a breath of fresh air, or the breath of life breathed in us from God. So everybody here has a special calling and a special uniqueness that God has something for you. Nobody is just a waste of time. God has something special for you. He know how we wire. But the thing is, will we surrender to the one who formed us so he can take us to where we want to be in life? Can I get amen? Y'all wearing me out this morning. So he just didn't create Adam, he formed him. Now here's the key. God didn't speak man to existence like he did everything else. When God said, let there be light, he did what? He spoke it. Let the seas, everything else, he spoke. Boom, it was there. Hey, let there be water. Boom. Hey, let there be a sky. Boom. Let there be ground. Boom. No, but for us, he took his time. He took time to form us. He said, I'm going to make this part tender on them because this will get their attention. I'm going to make this part hard on them because they're going to need it for what they're going to go through in life so they can keep going. So everything that God formed us is intentional for a specific task, for a specific purpose, but most of all, to represent him. Can I get amen? So everything else, God spoke it. The Bible say he formed man from the dust of the ground, right? That means he touched the dirt. He touched the dust. He touched it. He shaped the body. Then he breathed. Then he put his own self in it. We only exist without Jesus in our life. We only live when the presence of God is flowing through us. That's why we went through life aimlessly and just running through life, because we only exist because we didn't understand our purpose. When a person don't understand their purpose in life, they wander through life trying to find their place in life. But God has a place for us in life, but it's not done without him. Can I get amen? See, our identity is not just random. It was handcrafted personally by God. So what your identity is not is what people call you. It's not what you've been through. It's not what you have done. Our identity is rooted in who breathed into us, which was the presence of God. Can I get amen? So today, our identity is being formed. When you ask a person what you want to do in life, right? And when we don't know our person, we become Scooby-Doo. How do we sound? Watch out. Watch out. Watch out now. Watch out. I'm gonna come back and get you on that. Remember what I said. We're better to some people when we don't know who we are. I'm gonna tell you why. But you're no good to yourself when you don't know who you are. That's why you can get in a relationship and you giving more on your end than what you're receiving on the other end. The second thing, we're positioned in his presence. So he say, and the Lord God planted the garden towards the east, and he put him there. He put him there. He positioned him there. He positioned him there. God is trying to position you to where you can make it in life. But in our own wisdom, we always trying to get out of place where God placed us. You got to be that baby, somebody with a better spirit, so be quiet. Bring him here. No, I'm just playing. So here it is. So why are you always trying to step out of place where God placed you? You know why? Because we don't know who we are. And when you don't know who you are when God placed you, it's very uncomfortable. You can't control it. You can't root it. Can I get amen? Where have you been and you left and you said you should have stayed? How many times have God placed us somewhere, whether a job, whether a relationship, whether someone where we was prospering and we stepped out because we thought something else and now we struggling and said, man, I should have stayed there. Huh? You know why? Because we didn't know who we was. We didn't know our identity. So now we go through life trying to find that place again. But it's not, we cannot find it outside the presence of God. See, God placed, I'm going somewhere. Now the Lord God planted a garden in the east of Eden. And he put the man there who he formed.